Hello, welcome back to another video of MCFC Connect. Today we're talking about Manchester City's brand new signing, Abdukodir Khusanov, the first official one of the January transfer window from Uzbekistan. Now, he's been a lot of people excited recently, trust me, I know I've had a lot of people from Uzbekistan tuning into my chat, so big ups to all of them. And today in this video, we're talking about him a little bit more, seeing what he brings to our team, what he has that maybe other players don't, and how he's going to change us and make us better in the defense. Because I believe he has that potential to have that impact. And so, without further ado, let's just jump straight into it. Why not? Starting with this graphic, if you're regular on the channel, it's a very typical graphic of mine. He's 20 years old, turns 21 in February or May. I can't remember. It's one of those. He's 20 years old, very young. Obviously plays for us now. He's a defender, a centre-back to be specific. Slips in the centre-back roles, but I think that he could maybe play right back, but I'm not sure. But definitely is a centre-back, that's for sure. Contract for 4.5 years, 2029, but I believe that's got a option to extend for a further year on the end of it, if needs be. So, the contract is well-lengthed, if you ask me. Now then, this season, these are all stats from when he played with Lens. He's had 16 games played, no injuries, which is good, and he's missed no games due to injury. He has a passing accuracy of 89%. Now, then you might be wondering, how does that compare to other players in City's backline, like John Stones and Diaz and Akanji and Ake? Now, then, it's lower than all of them. They average, I think the highest was about 94 and the lowest was like 91. So he's only a little bit behind there. And City play a lot of passes. And to be fair, the defence, whilst they do play forward passes, they do kind of pass it between themselves as well. Some of the passes they make aren't super risky. Pretty sure Khusanov did do a few long balls here and there, which has probably had a pinch as accuracy. Now then, his top speed. For me, the biggest talking point of this video, if you ask me, his speed. His top speed recorded is 37 kilometers an hour, I believe that is. Which is just incredibly rapid. In terms of miles per hour, I believe that is about 22 miles per hour. That's certain speed limits for cars. There are 20-mile zones, I believe, in some areas. So he is quicker, at his top speed recorded, he's quicker than certain speed limits on cars. So, he is a pretty fast guy. And in terms of how that compares in terms of other people that have been quick, it is lower than Kyle Walker. I'm talking peak Kyle Walker. I don't know about now. I'd need to check that. But Kyle Walker, he's ridiculously quick in his prime. It's what made him so good. But someone that it does compare to, Usain Bolt, you've heard the name. His legendary 100-meter sprint, which he covered in, I think, about 9.5 seconds. Can't quite remember. I believe it was something like that, though. I believe the top speed he recorded there was 37.58 kilometers an hour. So he's only just behind there. So there's no doubt about it that this guy is truly rapid and quicker than our other defenders, it's safe to say. This season he's had 3 yellows, 1 red card. We've spoken about his discipline, and it is highlighted as an issue. But look, when you're a young player, you are going to lack a bit of the discipline, and who knows where he'll be at the end of his contract. He'll probably be a very well-experienced defender and very ready to and very much more disciplined, to be honest. Now then, in terms of the transfer fee, his value is about 12 million or 14 million, one of those. It's way lower than what we've had to pay for him, but look at the January deal. Deals in Jan are going to cost quite a bit. And also, I'd just like to say, Real Madrid and Arsenal, I believe we're looking at this guy. Arsenal maybe not, but I know Real Madrid were. And look, Real Madrid, don't know if they were looking at it for a January move or a summer move, but look, the bottom line is we've beat Real Madrid to this. No guarantee that Real Madrid are ever going to sign him, but we have beaten them to it. We've beaten Real Madrid to it, which is huge. If they even had him on their list, okay, I'm not saying that Real Madrid's got the holy grail of transfer lists, but if other top teams were looking at him, there's got to be something to him. We weren't the only ones. And so 40 million plus 10 million add-ons. Look, imagine Khusanov went on to have an incredible season at RC Lens, like he already was, but just went on to get better and better. It could have been more. It could have very well been more for this guy. So, look, for me, I think it's a good deal, and I think 40 million with 10 million in add-ons will probably look like a bargain by the end of his contract. Now then, you're not out of me yet, I'm afraid. We're gonna pull up this graphic now, if you'll just give me a moment. And here we go. So, a lineup builder. Again, if you're a regular, you've seen this website before. So here we are, Man City's potential 11 with Abdukodir Khusanov. So here you go, you can see all the players there. Here he is at the centre-back. Now then, I've kind of just done a pretty bog standard 11 for City as of recent times. Nunez has definitely been slipping in the right-back a bit more. Vardio here, Diaz here. Akanji's been typically here, so I've moved him out the side. Now then, in terms of all these, okay, Diaz, very aggressive with his defending. You look at Diaz's defending, you look at his best highlights, it typically shows you some ferocious tackles he's done or some phenomenal blocks. My favourite block he's ever done, and for me, probably one of his best blocks he's ever done, was in the Champions League quarterfinal treble season against Bayern Munich, where he almost does the splits blocking a shot, and it's phenomenal. Now, I don't know if Abdukodir Khusanov can do the splits, but something that he's been described as is a very aggressive defender. That's a quote from Tiki, I believe. He's very aggressive with his defending. And I think that's good. Sometimes we see that our defenders, not Diaz really, but others can be a little bit shy of going in on a difficult challenge. A challenge where you could get penalised, and if it works out for you, it can work out. But Diaz, for me, he doesn't really shy away from that. A player running in on him, Diaz will take that ball out. Okay, he might foul him or he might not. There's no guarantee. But for me, I think having another player that is willing to do that stuff, Diaz will definitely be helping this guy too. He's Portuguese. I'm thinking of Vitor Reis there. But nonetheless, Diaz is very much the leader of our defence. And so, he's going to be helping Abdukodir Khusanov and Vitor Reis, and to be fair, Vitor Hayes, sorry. So he's going to be helping both of them and getting sorted. And look, if he has anywhere near the aggression, and aggression isn't bad, I'd like to say. Aggression, you might be thinking of that and being like, oh, so he likes to go into a lot of risky challenges that could maybe get him sent off. Don't really like the sound of that. Aggressive, that's not necessarily what aggressive means exactly. It just means that, well, he goes in powerful to challenges. I've seen some of the challenges he's done. He doesn't hold back. He's going for that ball. And seems a very determined defender too. Khusanov, I remember he played whilst he was bleeding from his head, I believe. Can't quite remember it exactly, but he definitely had blood on him. So, Khusanov definitely not shy of that. This is what you could look at in a team. Now then, it's a bit of a stretch, but look, with the pace he has, and with what he can do, he could very well slip in at right back. It wouldn't surprise me if we don't get Cambiasso, who can slip in at right back or left back. If we don't get him, then we still kind of have to rely on Nunez as a right back. Nunes, I don't imagine, wants to play right back forever. And look, I think he'd be more than willing to if he has to. But I don't think City fans really want Nunes at right back forever either. Okay, unless he takes on the role brilliantly and becomes our next right back. But nonetheless, I think Khusanov could very well slip in here if he has to. I've seen him cover up for fullbacks before, going to the far side of his box and putting in a good challenge. So I've seen him do that stuff before. I say I've seen him. It's not like I watch him every week. I've seen highlight reels of him doing stuff like that. So I definitely think that he could do that kind of stuff. If you ask me, I think it's definitely in his locker. To be honest, Abdukodir Khusanov to slip in at right back. And he's miles quicker than our other centre-backs now. So I think our quickest centre-back, not counting Gvardiol because he's a full-back for us, probably Ake, maybe Akanji. It's definitely not Stones or Diaz. But look, let's say it's Ake. Ake's not in the squad enough anymore due to his injuries. He's picked up another one recently, probably third of the season, I think. So has picked up another one, and it's just hard to watch. But Khusanov hasn't had an injury. Sure, his career's been short so far, and that can change. But look, I'd rather no injury record at 20 than a big injury record at 20, Now then, one more thing to look at before we wrap up. Now then, here, you've seen this all before. We mentioned his discipline because of his red card that he's had. According to this, he's had 5 yellow cards, which is different to transfer market, which is where I get most of my stats from. But this actually indicates some of his biggest strengths. Ball interceptions, good. Concentration, always locked on, ball over the top, unexpected. He's ready for it. And do you know what's so great? There's been a couple times, not tons, but a couple times where a ball's gone over the top and teams have penalised us. I remember Brentford last season. I think a ball just went over the top from the goalkeeper. Neil Mopay, I believe it was, ran in on goal, scored, got 1-on-1. None of our defenders were ever catching him. Not because he's rapid, but because they weren't. But Khusanov, he is rapid, and maybe he can cover up in those kind of situations where a ball unexpectedly goes over the top. If he's always ready, and if he's got the pace, those are just 2 big ticks in my opinion. And blocking the ball, well, like I said with Diaz, one of his biggest strengths are his blocks, and having another defender that can block maybe not as well as Diaz. Diaz is one of the best in the world at it, but maybe he can be as good as Diaz. Maybe he slips into the team and he's one of the best things we've ever seen. Clears the ball out of the defence often. Look at Lens. I imagine he's a bit of a if in doubt, kick it out player. I know he played really well against PSG when he played them, so probably had to do that a few times there. Here is the passing stat I got here, 89%, like I mentioned. Won't really talk about that anymore, though. Defensively, let's hop on here. 1.2 tackles per game, 2 interceptions per game, which lines up with this. 1 foul per game, which you can kind of expect from a defender. 4 clearances per game, which is pretty good. And look, if those are accurate clearances, like he just boots it out the field and clearing it, but it goes to a striker like Haaland, then hey, that could be really good for us. And he gets just under a block per game as well. And he doesn't get offside often. I imagine that's when his team is in desperate need for a goal, and maybe he's using his pace to get up there. He just gets caught off a couple of times or something. Offensive, see if there's anything worthwhile here. Not really. Long balls on his passing, again, like I mentioned of long balls earlier, 2.4 per game. So, yeah, wouldn't surprise me that he does tend to go for those. XG doesn't really matter. And, yeah, that's basically everything in terms of those stats. So, not the longest video ever, but Abdukodir Khusanov, to wrap up what he brings to City. He brings pace, he brings aggressiveness, blocking the ball, interceptions, potentially the ability to slip at right back and more offering at City. He could be a true asset, and I'm excited to see whether he'll be used against Chelsea on the weekend. So, big ups to everyone that watched this video. If you enjoyed it, please do leave a like and subscribe. And if you want to see more and you don't want to miss an upload, make sure to turn on the notification bell. And I will see you all in.